7-on-7. We don't do as much as some schools, but we do a lot of full contact camps with some area schools. So
I remember we in May South. That was a big place. We did a lot of those area school, a lot of those contact camps, and
yeah,
that always got rowdy, especially when we did the HCC ones. You had Wichita East
yeah,
come through. You had Bishop Carroll
yep,
come through. Oh
yep,
yeah, we always got rowdy during those.
yeah. Good times.
Oh yeah, it was
Good.
a great time. I remember one time Coach Coles humbled me real quick. I was talking trash on one of the offensive linemen. You looked at me and he immediately goes like, if you're gonna talk, at least be able to put pads on. I was like, damn, you got me on that one. So ever since, I keep that same mindset. If I don't have pads on, I'm not gonna talk shit.
Right.
I can't do it much anymore.
That's awesome.
Well, brother, you want me to get into it?
No doubt,
Let's
brother.
start.
So like I appreciate everybody joining us. Hopefully, it's gonna grow over time. But the goal for me a year ago was to kind of create something that will help coaches kind of advance with D line play. Like I have a lot of background in my career with linebackers and at my previous school I was the assistant D line coach. So for me, I wanted to be better for the players and also grow my mindset with the D line. And that's kind of why I started this was to kind of give back to the coaching community and I'm going to let Coach Webb take it over and, pretend you're like back at Vermillion and you got the
Yeah.
chopper running and lead the guys, man. Lead the troops, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, let's see if I can share real quick. I'm gonna share my screen. There we go. Perfect right here. So share that. Boom. Perfect. Can everybody see this right here?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So, getting into this, I was practicing this, trying to think of like uh what saying I need to give out, just trying to be everything with that. But honestly, just gonna keep it simple. My name is Brendan Webb. I'm the defensive line coach at St. Norbert College. I have the privilege to work with a bunch of young men who actually just one of them just entered in. His name's Sean Hesse right there. He's one of my guys. But like I said, I'm the defensive line coach. As you know, brother, I played at the University of South Dakota. I had the privilege to play underneath Coach Nielsen and Coach Johansson, who has now taken up that role as the head coach. And right now, I've also, one of the things that I live by, as you can see down there, one of the quotes that Coach Johansson gave us is that passion is seen as aggression to those who are not passionate. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that quote, and I will continue to live by it because it truly just it speaks to me. Because there's been many times where Coach Warner, Coach Ruda, Coach Coles have gotten on me, and it's not because they don't care about me. It's because they want to see me grow. They want to see me get better, and stuff like that. It was always never they hated me. It was because they're passionate. They love the sport. They love the people, and I grew into that very much so. To get into it, oh, there we go. Oh, is it going? There we go. Perfect. So, you know, uh, to really have a table of content of what we're going to be doing, we got what is deliberate practice. I'll be talking about using deliberate practice, my personal drill bank of everything that I've learned and what I like to use, as well as my drill philosophy. One of the big things that we're going to talk about is what is deliberate practice. And deliberate practice refers to a special type of practice that is purposeful and systematic. While regular practice might include mindless repetition, deliberate practice actually requires focused attention and is conducted with a specific goal in mind. Um, there's an old adage that is used that is, if you get 10,000 hours of practice in, you become an expert. And that is almost a fallacy within this concept. There's another quote that says practice makes perfect. That's also potentially a fallacy in itself. Why I say that is because we're going to get into, what a model of what deliberate practice is. Deliberate practice is having a desired skill and pushing it to that next level. One way that we can potentially look at this is that we as ourselves as people is think of it as like driving a car. We all can drive a car. We can all be on the freeway. We can all get from point A to point B. But you put me on an Indy 500, and there's no way in hell you're going to see me win the Indy 500. So there's that plateau of skill where everything that we do and learn almost becomes an impulse. And so what I have learned from these skills is how to push forward in that motion, how to actually keep growing with these skills. So we're going to get into how we actually use deliberate practice. Within deliberate practice, one of the big things are three main key points that I focus on is creating a routine, segmented learning, and then taking small measured increments. So how I do creating a routine is I focus on three main aspects of being a defensive lineman. You have the run game, the transition pass rush game, and then your pass rush game. Those three things I focus mainly on because it helps them have mental preparation for the next day, or for practice itself. Having these guys to not think as much actually helps them really move forward, move fast with practice. It's not like they have to get up and go boom, 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 boom. I don't want these guys to think about what they have going on with practice. I want them to be able to hit the ground running. Another thing that we focus on is segmented learning. So within our segmented learning, we have our, like I said, we're still doing the same thing as our run, transition pass rush, and then our pass rush. So why you want to segment your learning is that it simplifies your drill structure. So when it comes to run, transition, pass rush, and run, pass rush, uh, I have these guys understand what you're moving forward to is it's first down, second down, and third down. More than likely in your first down mindset, it's going to be run first. Like the offensive linemen, offensive schemes, they have to take that first step forward to get another situation, to get, to move the scheme or to move their script. And so I focus heavily on just being simple. Like, hey, here's what today is, here's the next day, here's the next day. Oh, I just dropped that. I don't technically need it. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, perfect. So how I do this though is that Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are segmented on three different types of styles. So on Tuesdays, I segment it into our run day. To slow things down a little bit, I want you guys to see that I segment our learning as well with just the three main points of a defensive lineman. Defensive lineman, you have your feet, your hands, and your hips. To me, that's the most important the three most important things you have to work on constantly. And I drill these as such with your feet first, your hands first, and your hips first. We'll get into that later, why I do that. But on Thursday, we change the scheme up a little bit with your hips first, your feet next, and your hands last. So, why I structure it this way is that Tuesday is the start of the week, correct? So run first is the start of the game. That's always it's not always how it's going to be, but mainly that's how I want these guys' scheme to operate, is that you are fixated on a run first mentality. You are destroying the guy in front of you. You are being aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Well, getting into that, then you're going to have your RPO days, which is your transition rush pass days. You're going to have a guy, set up for just a simple power play, but then all of a sudden you see the quarterback take three steps back, understanding how you get your hands onto your guy and then shedding off and then getting a transition pass rush. And then the third day on Thursday, that is a put your ears back and just go as hard as you can. That's why hips are first. You're going to be explosive, be very, very explosive. So with getting into measuring small, the reason why I like to do that or the reason like how I do that is film study. Film is one of the most important one of the most important things that we have to do as defensive line coaches. Like we have to get them in film to show them what's going on. How I or why I like doing this is it increases your confidence. If you guys, a lot of players, it's you look good, you feel good, and you play good. Like that's great. But if I get these guys confident in the same manner of what they're doing within like within their drill scheme and their drill structure, they're going to play confidently. One thing that to segue a little bit, one thing that I do within my pass rushing and within my drill structure with that is that when you throw a pass rushing move, you have to have confidence in it. You can't just throw your hands without leaning into it. You have to have confidence into your move. And this also builds your foundation as a football player brick by brick. Um, there's times where you can kind of skip something, but you're going to lose that piece of the wall. And that's why I want these guys to take that step back and put one brick down, one brick down, one brick down. It's the mindset of you are constantly taking that one step by one step by one step, not trying to leap forward, but taking it step by step rather than just moving forward to get to the goal. You have to, slow it down for a lot of people. So getting into why I focus on feet, hands, and hips. So with feet, hands, and hips, the reason why we operate that at St. Norbert College is our scheme. So our scheme is mainly a build the wall, a crush the offensive line, squeeze mentality defense. And in my opinion, in order to really do that, you can't have a attack react based defensive line. You have to have a react attack based defensive line, or is also known as mirror steps. These mirror steps is what helps you follow your guy and move with him naturally. Uh, and then getting into my practice week on why I have it set up like that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are our hardest working days. This tags into grind set as a mindset. These are going to be our hardest working days. And the reason why I want these guys to work so hard is that Friday is going to be just a simple understanding the scheme, getting prepared, getting ready for what's going to happen the next day on Saturday. I want their Monday to be focused on a recovery, 3 days of working your butt off, 1 day of getting mentally prepared, and then Saturday it's time to go. Uh, one thing that I truly live by and I love to think about is one of my old coaches, Rob Schneider. He actually coined the phrase 60 minutes of Indy. Every football game is literally just 60 minutes of Indy if you really think about it. The guy that you're going against, how you're doing things, it's just you versus him. And when you get that quarterback, that's the prize, that's the end of the road. But if you can enforce your will onto somebody else, that is just the most beautiful prize you can have as a defensive lineman. And then getting into grind set as a mindset. Myself, I make these guys work. I believe as defensive linemen, we are the foundation of the defense. We have to be solid. We can't be somebody that just relaxes a little bit in the face of adversity. We have to be a solid group that is ready to fight and keep going. So, getting into deliberate practice again, deliberate practice, how you want to structure that and keep moving forward is that within your scheme, you have to actually find those key points. And how to get back into that is our feet, hands, and hips. So, essentially, still within our scheme, you can actually move forward with that. So, uh, close that real quick. Within our scheme, you know, you find that drill work, and then after you get done with your drill work, you finally plateau at your technique. Well, you want to increase that difficulty so that your deliberate practice or you're deliberately growing to get better at that said technique. So you know, to go back with our feet, you want to get, stronger, better with your technique so that you take that step forward to actually get better at live reps to keep going with it. So this is my big drill bank. Within my large drill bank, the reason why I have these three columns and the reason why I have everything set up is that it's just kind of clear for my brain to organize everything. But it's also to show that there are run emphasis and pass emphasis to everything that you do when it comes to your feet, your hands, and your hips. It's organizing it to actually understand what's going on. But I have a fourth column called my combination column. Why I have this column is because after we master our technique and our feet, you add your hands into it. After you master your hands with your feet, you add your hips into it. And after you've mastered all three of these together, you essentially create a combination of everything into these drills, where all of these drills right here implement all three of our segmented skills. So, getting into film, you guys can still see this, correct? Can't even see you. Okay, perfect. Thank you, brother. So, getting into film, I want to preface this real quick that this drill right here is called step replace. Step replace is actually mirror stepping, having that ability to step with your guy. Another part of my philosophy as a defensive line coach is taking a step back and having these guys move off of the cadence to start. Having to start with a cadence at first is, not the end game. That is just so that these guys can slow down completely. I want them to slow down in their brains so that they don't, mess up the drill. They don't think they're messing up. They don't think they're, quote unquote, fucking up. I want these guys to slow everything down at first. Well, then after they've mastered the drill when it's baseline components, then I add the most necessary part of everything as a defensive lineman, reaction. So right here, as you can tell with me, I move with these guys. To start off, what I want with my men is to have a baseline stance. It doesn't matter what hand you have down. We're going to say he's a right side five shade, And right here, what we're focusing on is he's reacting off of which step that I take. Our key components of this drill right here is making sure that his feet right here are anchored. I want them to make sure that they do not get anywhere near each other. Why I do that is because if you have a solid base, a solid foundation, you can explode through your guy. You can use your power rather than if you cross your feet over, you don't have that much foundation underneath yourself. And then at the end, I always add a burst because as defensive lineman, you have to run to the ball. Like it's always effort, effort, effort. So after we've, had mastery within our feet, I always add the next component, which is the same drill, but then we add our hands into the mix. If I get there, we add our hands into the mix. So after we get our hands into the mix, this is what we really need to focus on getting the same part with your feet. If you see with Stone right here, his feet are good. His feet are perfect, but then we have to add in his hands. Right here, what we could do better is that we bring hands to, or from ground to man. How I teach ground or hands within my defensive line is that you're punching with your elbows. And what I mean by that is that the sole of your elbow right here, or I forget what it's called, the sole of your elbow is what I call it. The sole of your elbow is what punching your guy first. And how I have them do this is literally whenever they have time, I have them put their hand down, up, down, up, down, up. It's that consecutive motion of that baseline formation. So, with that going on, I make sure that with everything moving, everything going, that they understand that their hands are essentially like a door. If you ever run into a door, it's kind of throws your shoulder off. That's what offense and defense, that's what defensive lineman's hands should be like. It's a steel pillar. It's a hard steel pillar. So as soon as you hit somebody, they get shocked. You're trying to shock your guy. So with their hands right here, they're moving, moving. I want them to react off their guy too. The reason why I have Kyle Carnop right here with his hands here is that that's the aiming point. Your feet get in there, and then you get your hands activated on your guy. So after we succeeded with our feet, I then go into our hands-based drill. With the hands here, I slow everything down completely. One of the most important parts with your hands is block release. You have to have some form of activity and some type of violence with your hands. When I first started coaching and I started really doing things with the hands, I've learned that you can't really do man on man to start because these guys are friends. They care about each other, they love each other. They're not going to try and hurt each other unless they got beef with each other. One guy owes another guy a beer. It is a whole thing. But you got to have violence with that. So what I've learned is that with these bags, they can be as violent as possible. And if you can see me right here, you can just see this big ginger freak just screaming at these kids because I want them to realize that there is violence with this. If you can see right here, Nate Lee, he throws it so hard that it almost off kilters himself. I want him to be that violent. Violence is the name of the game because if you are violent, you are hard to block. So getting into that, then we add your feet into that. That's the progression that I want to keep moving forward is that then you add your feet and I still slow it down. So after he gets violent, here's Aiden Gomez, violent with his hands and takes those steps. As you can tell, we're still using the same idea from our step replace drill, where he has that in between space where he doesn't cross over, he pushes with his feet to gather space and gather ground, and then is even with his man, even within his gap. So after we get done, pushing that, moving forward, then we add the whole thing together, or we add violence, we add that torque, we add that just raw tenacity. And with these guys, I want them to continuously push that edge and be violent. So then getting into adding everything together, we add our hips into the mix. So, my idea when it comes to offensive line, especially using the mirror technique and using attack or react attack, is that there's four main blocks that you're going to get. You are going to get a base block, a down block, a pass block, and a reach block. The reason why I don't add hinge or pull is that I believe hinge is a base form of the base, and pull is also another form of the down block. That is completely based off our scheme. If that is different for yours, it's completely different for yours. But within our scheme, that's how it's based. That there's four main blocks that we operate on. So right here, we are actually segmenting it where we are focusing on the reach block right here. So how I set them up is that I have them lose. I want these guys to understand that failure is okay, but pushing through failure is how you become a champion. So right here, he's reached. He has lost. He has lost that battle of off the initial, fight, and he's lost that reach. So now we have to fight to get back. So right here, I have him focus on that step replace. He's getting his feet right. He's pushing. He's pushing. He's pushing. So then you add a next component is to where I'm pushing my guy or pushing the bag to react where the ball carrier is going. So then he can actually be violent with his block release and then get into his gap. So if you lose your responsibility, you lose where you're at. You fight, you fight, you fight to get back where your C gap is. And then as soon as you see that ball redirect and hit that gap, he block releases with violence, gets into his gap, gets to his man, and that's how you control the tempo of your offensive lineman. Even if you lose a rep, you still focus on your techniques. So then getting into the next drill, same idea, same idea. And sometimes I make these guys hold it for a while because you never know what's going to happen with the backfield. If you control your guy, then you peek to see what's going on after you've controlled your man. If you try to, peek into the backfield while you're losing a rep, you've completely lost. This guy's going to flatten you and put you on your back. So what I do right here is I'm kind of an asshole. I'm going to make sure that these guys win the rep first to then get to their guy. So right here, I make sure that he takes his sweet time to get outside to the outside half to finally where his five shade should be. So as soon as I redirect him down, he can cut back inside or he can block release back inside. So now I want to focus on our hips. Our hips have to be ungodly explosive. I've heard many different ways. There's a coach from Bueller, Kansas, Coach Ruda, actually. He's helped me with being really explosive with my hips. But there's an offensive line coach who, he is very crass, and that is unfortunately stuck in my brain. His name's Coach Hotmar, absolute hilarious dude. But the way that he's kind of helped me is that you want to be so explosive that your wife has trouble waking up the next day, and that threw me off when he first told me that. It helped me quite a bit. But with these guys, what I focus on is that with your hips, you can't be too explosive because something's going to happen where they overthink. So what I do for them is that I add safety and security, letting them be so explosive that they're not going to get hurt because there's a thing within psychology that your muscles operate off of safety. And so you typically use 80% of your actual strength. That's why you hear of freak athlete or freaks that can lift a whole entire car up to save their wife in a burning fire. The reason why they can do that is that their fight or flight is activating. Well, I don't have that ability to make your fight or flight activate. So what I can do is put a big blue pad on the ground and make sure you don't bust your face when you shoot your body forward as hard as you possibly can. So right here, I help these guys be as explosive as possible and just push that, push that, push that. And to add a component into that, we still have to be reactionary. As you can see right here, I'm yelling, I'm yelling, I'm yelling, but I want them to move off of my movement. If they just go off of a cadence, then they're going to jump off sides. They need to get used to moving off movement. So then that leads into how do you make it more difficult? Well, there's not really a way for this drill to add your hands or your feet. So what I do is um, I add restriction. I add tension. And so how I do that, I literally put a band right on their hips to understand how explosive I need them to be. And as you can tell from the last guy, look how far he gets. This guy, it's not that he doesn't get far, is that I have hindered his explosiveness because I want him to push through that. I'm adding a barrier for him to explode through. Well, to step back to what I was saying earlier, you can add your hips into this, or your hands into this. How you do that? You make it reactionary with the ball. Um, I was speaking earlier on the fact that I want you to punch with your elbows up, with the pit of your elbow up. The reason why I want that is you gotta be a steel pillar while you're doing this. And with my guys, I want them to be a strong, strong steel pillar. So when they get to the ball here, they're not trying to punch it back to me. their body needs to be literally, as you can see right here, a straight, powerful line of just a steel, strong pillar that the ball comes back to me, not because of his hands, but because of his hips. His hips made the ball come back to me, not his hands. And that's where this drill, adding your hands into it, makes you more and more explosive. It allows you to be that steel pillar. So now we're going to focus on combination drills. So after successfully adding all three of their feet, their hands, and their hips, now I want to do combination based stuff. Well, to me, you still got to start slow with combination drills. We mastered the three forms of technique that we had. Now adding the combo part, I still want to be slow with everything. So right here, it's focusing on just being powerful, being violent, getting through your guy and just pushing and running your feet through. And honestly, running is probably not the words to use. What I like to think of is stomping. When I say stomping, these guys are like kind of stepping through mud. You are pushing and pushing and pushing. You're not using just your toes to move. You're using your legs, your ass, your back, your core. You're moving everything in front of you with every part of your body. So then, as fun and as dandy it is to be head up with your guy, that's not realistic. You still have to add a little bit of realism within your drills. So I add a different form of five shade. I make them get onto a left shade or a right shade. And right here, it's still reactionary. I want them to explode through that guy, be explosive, be a menace of nature. And if you can see right here with Stone, the reason or one thing that can be critiqued within film is that his hands are bent. His hands still need to be ground to man. I want them to be literally, I'm not even kidding. The adage is ground to man. I want it to be perfect like that. Boom, boom. So, boom, get your hands to man, and then we'll go to the other side. Just try to make it realistic. Well, how you grow and how you move upon this to make it more like a structured drill, I add weight. And how I do that is I literally add what I call a DD sled, or I apologize, a donkey dick sled. It's just this big old sled, and you actually I usually add about 45 pounds onto it. And to start off the drill, it's off cadence. We're still starting slow. We want you to be, stick to your fundamentals so that you can be explosive. If you go back to the start of the film, what was the first part of your feet? Your feet had that base. You had base underneath you. And then when you get to your hands, it's ground to man. You're going to be explosive. And then when you see your guy take that step, you're going to block release off of them. And then as soon as you get your hips through, you can carry that weight. So with this drill, we're adding everything into the mix now. So as soon as I tell him to get off, he is stomping through his man. He is stomping, stomping, stomping. He has a solid base underneath himself. His hands are above his eyes. They're locked out. They're strong. And then as soon as he sees me react to any hole he takes, he gets off his man with a violent block release. And that is one thing that I keep pushing is violent block release, violence, violence, violence. So you get off your man, you get to your guy. You still have to use your eyes. Your eyes are constant when it comes to any part of these drills. You constantly have to be using your eyes, and you build off of those three parts. So then, how do you build off of that? So what I do is that I have these guys right here step in and just essentially be a body. Cadence is fine and everything, but I have to have a body so they see movement. They can't just go off of anything else. They can't keep going off of cadence. When you get into a game, I don't mean to, segue and contradict myself a little bit. When you get into a game, there are times where you can find that rhythm of cadence, but still, offenses kind of hope you find that rhythm so that they can play you. If you're in a third and sixth situation, they're going to find that rhythm and they're going to use that against you. So with this, I want them to have that cadence and that knowledge, but then to still rely on the movement of their offensive alignment. So same drill, having a solid base, solid foundation underneath himself. And then as soon as I move, that's when he goes. I don't tell him to get off the block until he sees me move into that respective gap. If he just throws himself into that, I can cut right back out. He only block releases until I declare which gap I'm going to. And then you had to have some competition within your drills just to make things fun, just to lighten up the mood, just to, there are times where these drills, even though they are hard work, they are going to dull their senses. They're going to dull their, enthusiasm a little bit. So we as coaches have to bring that back up. So with this drill is a pass oriented, pass focused feet and hips drill, and it's all about competition. You know, I have these guys get it going, they fucking move. It's all about having fun, being competitive, and at the end of the day, even my old ass, my body hurting, I still go with it too. Right? Trying to be a part of that. And as you can tell from Rusa right here, I unfortunately lost the drill. But just staying competitive, making these guys want to keep growing and pushing and pushing and pushing, adding a simple drill like this, it still works on your base fundamentals, like having wide feet, having your knee drive, having stuff like that. But it adds fun. It adds, competition. Football is a competitive game, but it's a very, very fun game. And that allows you to drive and just push and push and push for you to actually want to get to the next step. So with that, we're gonna watch me lose one more time because I'm still ashamed of myself. But this guy, he's a dog. That's Dylan Elsing, a dog of a man. But after that, though, brothers, this is everything that I've had. This is who I am. But if you got any questions, feel free to shout them out. What I kind of focused on was basically just run fundamentals. But if you want to talk more about our past fundamentals, feel free to hit me up. One thing that just to kind of throw accolades from these drills, the success of our young men has been tenfold. We were the number one defense in the nation because of these guys' success and their ability to take in the coaching, leading to two of our defensive linemen, Justin Benoit being second team all conference, and then Dalen Lujan being first team all conference. These guys took these steps forward to be one of the best defenses in the nation just from simple technique. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you want to throw my way, feel free to ask. Um, I got I got nothing but time for you guys. But thank you to throw that in there. Thank you for taking the time to actually, watch this. I'm new to the game. I'm new. It hasn't even been a year of coaching yet, and this has been easily one of the most fun, most beautiful things I ever got to do in my life. So. I would love to keep learning, even though I've given this. I want to keep learning from anybody who's in this presentation right now.
It's awesome, brother. I just love how like in depth you went, like the way you structured it with like the PowerPoint and like your teaching progression. That makes me want to get better. Man, that's like it's awesome. Like how you just broke everything down and it made sense to me and like my experience with like, coaching with other kids, like the way you broke down every drill and then how it incorporates the next phase, I told you this last time when we talked, man. Like, what was it 15 years ago? Oklahoma State's D line coach was at St. Norbert, and
Yeah,
you got a bright future, brother. Like, I loved how everything was structured, and it was good to see. Like I said, man, it makes me want to get better. It makes me want to like question everything I have.
thank you.
Man, that was phenomenal.
Hey, man, it's gonna help you, I promise you. And I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words, man. I truly everything, all the success that I have, everything that all the kind words you're giving me, truly it started at the lowest level of playing football. Like Coach Bartlett, I have to give praise to, and even the one guy right here that it means the world that he can even be here is Coach Ruda. Like he's known for a while that he's helped me grow. There was one time I remember, I think it was my sophomore year. I asked him, "Hey, can we do some extra work after practice?" And he's like, "Dude, hell yeah!" Like just having those coaches in your life, that's truly what's helped me step into this role of coaching. And I owe all of my happiness, all of this success I've gained to them. And truly the success that I have isn't even mine to begin with either. It's the players. Like these guys have truly succeeded, and that's made me look good. Their success is a benefit of mine, not truly my success.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I was going to tell you too, Webb. It's kind of cool when it comes full circle and you're learning from the student. So you're doing some good things, buddy. I really enjoyed listening to some of the things that you're doing, and I was like writing notes on my phone as I was going here. Like things that like I can incorporate, and
Yeah,
put into things we do already. And so,
hell yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
good stuff, buddy.
Thank you,
Awesome.
coach. Truly, thank you.
Shoot. Anybody got any questions, comments?
How you doing, Coach? My name is Tyrell Thompson. I'm a
What's
defensive
up,
line,
Tyrell?
Trinity Valley in Athens, Texas. We're a junior college. I just wanted to say thank you for your presentation. Like that was amazing. It was really, in good depth. I actually lived in Green Bay for 2 years. I played for the
Yeah,
Green Bay, so I know a little bit about St. Norbert, and
yeah,
I like to see that they're finally getting some good success over there. So continue what you're
thank you.
doing. If you need anybody D line wise or anything, feel free to reach out to me. We're all about sending guys to the next level, and
Oh
I
yeah,
believe we have the best defensive line in the nation here. So please feel
hell
free.
yeah, brother. Hey, if you've got time, man, shoot me a text. I got my phone number right there, and let's
For sure.
connect with this, man. I'd love to send me some film of guys you got, and I'd love to see who you have, and we can talk more ball with each other as well, boss.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Definitely. I'll text you right now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Man, so we got one of your players, man. What is one of your players thinks? I'd
It-
love to hear
uh,
that.
I'm telling you, this guy is the best positional coach I have ever worked with, and how deep in detail he went in this presentation does it just skims the surface. Genuinely, Coach Ruda, you did a great job coaching this guy. I mean, every single drill we do, he has something that he can help you with. I mean, like he just gave me. He's not. I'm a D tackle, so I don't work with him all practice. But he'll see something and just say like, "Hey, fix this." I'll be like, "Damn!" Like the difference I feel is crazy. So uh, I just wanted to come on here and hear what he has to say. I love learning. I mean, I'm hoping to coach at some point in my life too. So I wanted to hear that, and I can only help me get better for this upcoming season. So that was a great job, Coach.
Appreciate you, Big Hesse. I hope you're doing well for break right now. I really do appreciate you, man. Thank you for those kind words, brother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, brother, I appreciate your time, and that was awesome for you presenting. And I'll definitely be in touch with you soon, man.
Yeah,
Recorded this whole thing. I'll try to send it over to you. And I thought you did an outstanding job, dude. That was awesome, and
thank
nothing
you.
but love. And ever in your area or the convention, man, definitely gotta grab a cup of coffee. I'll say that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
well, so to kind of get into like the real life thing of football, I got to supplement my job with bartending.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I picked up the unhealthy habit of collecting beer handles. Dude, these are so cool, man.
that's
I
awesome.
can't. It's so cool. So I don't get like the generic ones. Like, I'll be lucky. I've connected with some cool people, and they'll give me some cool looking ones. Like, let me grab this one. Like this, it's a husky, the husky IPA. Like this stuff, I don't know why it's just so cool to me. Like I don't like any of the beer that they give, but like it's cool. I love artwork. I love the stuff that they do. So it's awesome. I love like collecting that stuff.
Just a good dude, man. I love it. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
Thank
Well,
you,
I
brother.
hope work goes well, and I appreciate you
Thank you,
presenting
boss.
again, brother.
Yeah, just thank you for the opportunity. And thank you guys for stepping in to like watch this. This means the world. It could be one person, it could be 1,000 people. And thank you for taking the time out of your days to truly be here and, like, help me teach you what I love to do. And hopefully I can learn more from you, Coach. And Sean, I know I learn from you every damn day. And Coach Thompson, I hope to learn from you as well, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys, and thank you again. And I hope you guys have a good night. I'm gonna start a second Zoom meeting with a different coach, and if you guys want to hop into that one, I sent an email out. And if you guys want to learn, keep learning, man. Great opportunity tonight. Appreciate you guys.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
no problem.
Thank you, boss. Thank you.
Thanks, Webb.
Yes, sir.
We'll touch base. We'll touch base soon. All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, boss. I'll get out of here.